Okay, we are on the air. Max, are we ready?
I guess so.
I guess we'll
see.
We're on,
we'll
so
see.
We're going to have to be ready. So anyways, welcome to episode 47 of the SquadCast. I'm producer Clark. Mad Max is to my left. We got some special guests who are about to check in a couple of minutes here. We're going to have a lot of fun tonight. We got Max is a little bit jazzed about one of our guests tonight in particular.
You could say so. You could say so.
But all three. Did you bring enough yellow stuff?
Possibly.
Tonight?
I don't know. Tanner's wrist might be a little sore by the end of the night, but I'm sure he can.
For what reason, Max?
Well,
calm down, Max.
Autographs.
Calm down.
Autographs only.
That got a little awkward there. But hey, we are the SquadCast. You are the squad. You are the finalists. Thanks for checking in tonight. As always, we ask you to ask us anything. We'll get that in a minute, boys. Don't go too crazy with the ask us anything. We are brought to you by our good friends over at Rockstar Supply Chain Solutions. Roxanne and Darnell, there they are over my shoulder. They're hanging out with us tonight. We got the flamingos here from them as well. Rockstar.com, they can help you out with all of your business needs. If you need anything to get, all supplies, anything to maximize the efficiency of your business, they can handle it for you. They can bring stuff right to your door. They can do a whole lot of stuff, including expediting.
And you're crushing the big words early on.
Expediting. They're good at expediting. Whoa.
Did you get 8 hours of sleep last night?
No. Maybe.
Good stuff.
Anyways, it's Rockstar, good people. We say that every week. But make sure you check them out, rockstar.com. Follow them on all their channels, all their Instagram, Facebook pages, all this great stuff. Great people. As always, we ask you to ask us anything throughout the night, so you can always give us the old Hulk Hogan. There it is. Ask us anything. Send in your questions, send in your comments. We got 3 great guests tonight. They're ready to answer questions if you have any, so make sure you fire them away if you have any throughout the evening. Max, there's a lot of stuff going on tonight, but we're going to focus on our guests tonight. It's going to be a big guest night.
Absolutely.
We want to make sure that we get them in here. But before we do any of that, there is actually some sad news in the hockey world specifically. We had 3 gentlemen passed away in what I believe was a car accident. Ronan Sharma, Parker Magnuson, and Caleb Reimer. So that was obviously a tough news item over the weekend. So we want to pass along our condolences and thoughts to them and everybody involved, their families, their teammates, everybody. You never want to see that. And I know that they had some ties to a lot of people in this area. Of course, the hockey world is always smaller than we think it is. So, always big shout out to them. And I obviously our thoughts and prayers to everybody involved. Also, Jimmy Hayes, another guy who played for several years in the NHL. Obviously, if you watch or listen to most hockey podcasts, he's probably been on one of them. Yep. Him and his brother Kevin have been making their rounds. So Jimmy Hayes passed away at the age of 31, which is scary for me because I'm almost there. Max, you were talking about you're 4 years away. We don't yet know quite what happened with Jimmy. So hopefully nothing too crazy, and we can... Anyways, pass along our thoughts and prayers to the Hayes family because I know Kevin posted a pretty heartfelt message on his Instagram page today. His younger brother, Kevin, his younger brother.
A lot of the hockey world, obviously, right?
But yeah.
I mean, you obviously see the reach and the impact that Jimmy had across when you see all the messages on social media and the condolences passed. And yeah, I just echo your sentiments, Clark, entirely.
So he was on a podcast called Missing Curfew, I believe. He was on Spit and Chicklets all the time. Both those podcasts are taking a week off. For obvious reasons. So, again, the hockey community is always smaller. I know our guests tonight can attest to that. It's you get to know a lot of people when you're in that world, and it affects a lot of people. But if we can transition, it's never easy to segue or transition. No. If we can transition into who our guests are tonight, we have an all-star list tonight. Tristan, Frye, Colby Williams, and Tanner Jeannot are checking in. Next segment will be Tristan and Colby, and then Tanner is going to get the wrath of Max in segment 3 tonight with his Nashville Predators love. So we're going to get that going. But all three good Sasky boys, so we're going to be able to chat with all those guys throughout the evening. If you have any questions, because I know we got lots of Pats fans, we got a lot of SJHL fans tuning in here tonight. We got a lot of people who got burned by Tristan Frye in the SJHL back in the day. I'm an SFM Bruins alum, Tristan, you know that. So anyways, so we got a lot to talk about throughout the evening. But let's get to some of the topics. We're going to crush this first segment of the show, Max, because, again, we want to get to our guests. The Blue Jays, they finally broke out of their funk. They did get a big 2-1 win over the White Sox the other night. It wasn't an easy game. It's one of those games they absolutely needed to win because they struggled the last little bit on the road. So they finally got back home again against the White Sox. It was a tough game. They battled. Alec Manoah was the starting pitcher.
100%.
And it wasn't an easy outing for him, but he didn't allow much. They rallied in the sixth, got a few hits in a row. They did get a run, but the Jays rallied back after that. Were able to get a 2-1 lead and hold it for a change, because that's been the thing, is that they haven't been able to hold it.
That was the first thing I texted you, a 2-1 win? What are those?
What is going on?
What is that?
So anyways, the Jays were losers of 7 of 9, and a lot of people at this point are saying it's going to be pretty tough for these guys to get a wild card spot. We will break this down more after Tanner Jeannot's segment in our Bluebird block in segment 4 tonight. So stick around if you are a Blue Jays fan.
Currently 5 rip for the White Sox in the top of the 7th.
Yeah,
right
Jose
now,
Barrios didn't have the best of starts from my understanding. Again,
Tough
we'll talk about
Jose.
that more later tonight. For anybody who's trying to watch on Facebook, I know that we had some issues on Facebook earlier today with the Rod Peterson show. Mobile should work. For whatever reason, desktop just doesn't feel like working today on Facebook. Don't know why, but on YouTube, it should be up and running. On Twitter, it should be up and running. So if you want to watch there and comment in
who
throughout
needs
the
a
night,
desktop anyways? Grab a Chromecast, hook it up on the phone. You'll be all right.
Click it in on your phone, guys. It's 2021. You should have.
Sir.
Everyone has a phone. So anyways, you can check it out there throughout the evening, and I'll try to check in on your comments as well, because I know a lot of people like to comment on our Facebook page, and if that's not working, there it is. I forgot to turn my... Max, turn your speakers down.
Pro tip.
Turn your speakers off.
Yeah.
Next, now I'm full screen. What am I doing? This is a mess.
Hey, you're Alec Manoah. You're battling through your outing right now.
Right,
It's okay.
yeah.
It's perfectly fine.
Now my script's not working. Max, what's our next topic?
Our next topic, Team Canada flies out to a 2-0 start
Right.
at the World Women's Hockey Championships.
Yes, they're crushing it out
they're
there.
putting up some numbers.
Not a great picture, Alan. Could have done better on the picture department on that one, Alan.
I think he's mailing it in on his last week.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, he's like, you know what? I'm not even trying anymore. But It is awesome to see them back on the ice. They're out in Calgary. They got back on the ice, I think, earlier this week for the first couple games. Canada's off to a 2-0. Now they're playing the Swiss tonight. Can you maybe just double-check the score on that? I think Canada was playing Switzerland. And then on Thursday this week, they have the States. So it's going to be obviously that massive matchup every year, especially in the women's hockey.
5-0 final. They are now off to a 3-0 start.
3-0 start. Perfect. So the girls are doing well. We knew they would. They have a stacked squad over there.
Appointment viewing TV whenever they play the U.S. Obviously, that'll be a good game to tune
Thursday
into
night,
for sure.
make sure you're tuning into that. I don't know what else is going on Thursday. Probably nothing else of importance. One note from the NFL, Max, and with fantasy drafts coming up, if you haven't done yours already.
This does affect my Thursday night, actually.
I know that I have one coming up that I'm a little nervous for because my first actual fantasy football draft in like 3 or 4 seasons.
Well,
I've been out of the game.
Don't take Matt Ryan with your first pick.
I won't take Matt Ryan.
All right, that's my only friendly
I'm
advice.
biased, but I'm not stupid, Max. Now, the one news item that came out today that I saw was Jaguars running back, and I know this name because he was a high pick in a lot of drafts. Travis Etienne. Travis Etienne? Yep. He blew out his ACL, I believe. So he's done for the year. So do not pick him if you haven't done your draft yet. If you have, sorry. You probably picked him pretty high. So sorry about that. Another one that of equal importance, and this is going to, crush a lot of teams in fantasy football. Falcons backup quarterback, my team, the Falcons, A.J. McCarron, also blew out his ACL, and they signed Josh Rosen. Who is now on to his 7th team
in
like 3
years? Yeah.
I don't know what the heck's wrong with that guy, but something is. But anyways, they bring in Josh Rosen. Interesting move, honestly, for the Falcons. I know we don't have to dive deep into the backup quarterback for the Falcons.
They're going to be 4-13 anyways. Clark, wrap it up.
But guy was, 5th overall a few years ago?
Yeah,
4 or 5 years ago
to
now?
the Cardinals. The Cardinals, as soon as they had the chance to pick
Dolphins,
Kyler Murray,
and he went to the 49ers, and he's been all over the place.
He's been everywhere, man.
But for a team with like the Falcons who haven't drafted quarterbacks, to go out and get a guy like that, who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? But
hey, it's only got to work in one place, right?
Yeah, exactly. We don't have to dive too deep into the Falcons' backup quarterback situation. I just threw it in there as an interesting note.
Good stuff.
3 of the 5 NHL top draft picks have committed, Max, to going to the University of Michigan next year. Owen Power, Kent Johnson, and Matty Beniers. I love that he's committing to his name being Matty.
I like that too.
Just buy right in.
Yeah.
Now, Owen Power was obviously the first overall. We talked about this a couple shows ago already. But the fact that all 3 of those guys are going to University of Michigan, look at that move. Great move, guys. That's big. Like, the University of Michigan, that's going to be appointment viewing as well.
Oh, 100%.
We're going to be watching that team. Now, Owen Power did tell the Sabres in his pre-draft interview that he was going to do this. That's the news that came out today. That's why I'm mentioning this. He told the Sabres, and they said, oh, well, we're still picking you.
Right.
So good for the Sabres on doing that. But my question was, does this make the Sabres look bad, or is it probably for the best?
I mean, at the end of the day, like, we can read as much into it as we want to. Like you said, if in his pre-draft interview he said, listen, I'm going back to school, we're going to have a chance at a national championship, regardless of what we may think of the Buffalo Sabres as a whole. And I know a lot of people have a lot of thoughts on the Buffalo Sabres, but regardless, this was a decision, obviously, that was made before the draft. When that announcement comes out, it's easy to point at the team and say, that's probably on you guys to not have the first overall pick want to continue his professional career, even though he's probably ready to do so. But again, we saw it with Quinn Hughes going back to school. Maybe it's a good thing for Owen Power. And at the end of the day, if it's good for the player, that's ultimately what we want to see going forward. And you know what? It gives Buffalo a chance to maybe change the culture a little bit as they try to prepare to bring in some of these pieces that they're going to need to help turn around that franchise.
Well, the one thing on that too, Max, is like, with this last year being as weird as it was, Owen Power didn't really have a normal year.
No.
And especially for a guy who's a 6'6" defenseman, who's coming into a very physical league, of course, a very tight league. It's probably not the worst idea to send him to NCAA, where he's going to be playing 22, 23-year-olds, before you just throw him to the fire with the Sabres.
I mean, he did have a pretty good World Hockey Championships.
Yeah, he did.
He proved he could play against men.
Well,
sure.
he's obviously got the frame for it, and the skills, of course.
Smaller sample size.
It's probably not the worst idea for at least 1 year after such a weird year to just let him develop a little bit.
Sounds good for the World Junior team.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. They won't complain. Hockey Canada's not mad. CFL update. The Rough Riders remain the only 3-0 team in the league. That's great. They've had 3 home games so far, another one coming up, a bye week this week. Not a bad start to the season in terms of scheduling.
Nope.
You can't complain too much. I don't think the Riders are too upset.
And Allen redeems himself with a
Look
beauty of a
way better
photo.
picture than the Women's World Hockey Championship
Attaboy,
picture.
Allen.
Good job, Alan.
We'll renew your contract. We promise.
They beat the Ottawa Red Blacks over the weekend. Great defensive effort against the Red Blacks. Cody Fajardo, again, a great week. 300-plus yards passing. No passing touchdowns, but he had another rushing touchdown. The guy knows how to score.
Might have had a couple beverages at week 1. Might have called the MOP week 1. Just saying. Told you weeks ago.
You did tell me weeks ago. You did. And he, of course, anytime you win a game and the Queen City X is taking place, you got to go eat a corn dog. Now, Max, have you heard the news about corn dogs and hot dogs?
There's news?
There's a study that just came out.
A study that just came
Apparently,
out.
if you
As
eat a
if there's
hot
not
dog-
enough to study in this world these days. All right.
Yeah, they say you don't want to know what's in a hot dog. Don't see how it's made.
Oh, you're going to ruin this for me. Oh, no.
Apparently, the study has come out. If you eat a hot dog, it takes 36 minutes off your life.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so do the math.
Oh, wow.
So I think
all right,
that
I might not be here next week.
the big news is somebody better check on Joey Chestnut because that guy has eaten some hot dogs.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah.
But that's the news. And producer Jordan, director Jordan in the back said that he had some corn dogs for supper. He's already worried about his health.
Tough.
So,
Tough.
I mean, more than you should be after eating a couple corn dogs. But
You hate to
I
hear
mean,
it,
that
man.
study,
You hate to hear it.
that's a big blow. Do we have the power rankings by chance, Alan? We do. Okay, so here's
For
the
hot
CFL
dog
power
eating or for the
rankings.
CFL?
No.
Okay.
We're going back to the CFL.
Okay, good stuff.
We're bringing
All right.
it back. So the Riders are number 1. The Blue Bombers are number 2. They were number 1. The Argonauts have skyrocketed because they've been doing pretty good. The Alouettes had a good start, but they lost last week, I believe. The Elks, they're kind of up and down this year, a little inconsistent, but that's why they're right in the middle. And then the Stamps, they're struggling. The Tiger Cats are struggling. The Red Blacks are right at the bottom, but honestly, they're a team that I could see jumping up because the East is a little bit iffy. You never know with the East, and I think they could win a few games coming up here in the near future.
14-game season, they're going to have to.
And BC has been a completely different team every single week, so they're probably where they should be at number 8. So an interesting start to the CFL season. But anything else, Max? It's on your mind right now? I mean, it's
a whole
kind of
lot on my mind.
It's kind
right
of the
now,
dead
but-
season right now for like a ton of news.
Well, we were talking about that last week, right? It's kind of
Yeah.
the dog days of summer, right? We get caught up in the Jays, but unfortunately they had a tough week, which again we'll get to in segment 4, talk about a little bit further.
Yeah,
But that's
we'll
really
talk
been the
about
only
the
thing that I've been paying attention to in the sports world is just really not happy looking at the advanced analytics of where the Jays should be and where they are. But again, such is sports. So
Like I've been getting some questions on my TikTok channel. Follow me on TikTok at Producer Clark.
shameless plug.
Almost 15,000.
You paying for that ad or?
Does this count as paying for it?
Oh, okay.
Yes.
All right.
But
Just checking.
people are like, how do you think the Flames? What do you think the Flames should do? I'm like, there's nothing left to do. Like
Trade for Jack Eichel.
all the GMs are hanging out at their cottage. They're on the
Exactly.
boat. They
Yeah.
don't have cell service. They're not signing guys.
Exactly.
Colby Williams already has his contract, so I'd say go sign Colby Williams, but he's already signed under contract. So
Exactly.
I don't know. But there is it's kind of that point in the year where it's like, everybody has their contract. The guys who don't are waiting for the training camps.
Development camps are underway, though.
Development
I was
camps.
doing
Yeah.
a little bit
Do you
of
have some Preds updates?
Oh, yeah. I was doing a little bit of covering on some prospects. I really dove into Igor Afanasyev, actually, this week.
Yeah.
Man, oh, man. I'm excited for that kid after doing a
E-goat,
deep dive.
you called him.
E-goat, that's right.
That's
yeah.
a little strong.
Oh, is it, though? I don't know.
I don't know. You
The
tell
guy
me.
hasn't played an NHL game yet, but we'll see. But, no, he's a very curious case. He's very well-traveled. He started his, 2017-18 season in the USHL, then obviously went to Windsor in the O,
Right.
then went to Russia last year. Like, he's been punching passports all the way along his development path, and he's been fun to follow. And then Zachary Leroux wrote an article about that. I got a little retweet from Alan
Yeah,
Walsh.
Alan Walsh.
That was kind of cool. That
Not
was a
bad.
bit of a day maker. So, but no, at the end of the day, it's just been fun to keep up with the Preds prospects, and obviously that's kind of where my heart lies these days. So it's been fun to do a little bit of covering and deep diving on the future of the team, and very excited to chat with a very important member of the future in a couple of segments here. So
Absolutely. And he doesn't have to go to development camp because he's already been to a couple.
2-year contract.
There you go. He's
ready to roll.
He's on the next level.
Yes, sir.
Next level.
He's
hockey
on the
consulting.
next level.
See what I did there? We'll get to the next level, guys, next segment. But the top of the order, that was our top of the order, brought to you by our friends over at Hoop Life Basketball. Head to your app store today. Download their easy-to-use basketball training app. They can do it all on the training app. They can do live. I think they can still do this. They were doing it. Live in-person video training sessions. Pretty unbelievable stuff they got going on over there. And their new facility.
Yep.
That's opening up very soon if it hasn't already.
Yep.
And their new announcement, which they haven't said on our show yet, but they made the announcement.
They made the announcement.
Is that they're doing a league. And we talked about it a little bit last week, but they're doing a league for what, grades 3 to 8?
3 to 8, yeah.
Grades 3 to 8. Not washed up 30-year-olds who haven't played basketball since grade 3 to 8.
Man, that's tough, man. You couldn't even get a PTO there, hey?
No. Maybe we should convince them to do a washed up 30-year-old league.
Definitely.
Sure.
Absolutely.
We'll talk
man,
about
I'd be a youngin' in that league. 27 only, hey?
I could shoot 20% in basketball.
20% from the field, eh?
Put me on the 3-point line. I'll shoot a lot. 20%.
20% guaranteed.
1 out of 5. Guaranteed.
That's your resume. 20% guaranteed.
That's not bad.
That's right. That's not bad.
Anyways, make sure you use promo code SQUAD10 for 10% off all of their camps, apparel, merchandise, sessions. What haven't I said yet? All of their stuff. 10% off SQUAD10.
That's right.
HoopLifeBasketball.com. And they got a lot of great things happening over there.
Yes, sir.
We're going to hit a break. Jordan was bashing me earlier today.
Why?
He's like,
Why
there's
was
no
Jordan
way you
bashing?
guys get out of the first segment by 7:30. It's 7:20.
Hey, Jordan.
Jordan, we crushed it.
Jordan. You hear that, Jordan? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
He
Just
knows.
wanted to check. Make sure you're still listening, pal. That's it.
Anyways, we will hit a break. We'll be back in about 2.5 minutes, and we'll bring Tristan and Colby in from Next Level Hockey Consulting. I was going to say Next Life. That's Hoop Life, not Next Life. That's something else. Anyways, we'll see you in a couple minutes.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. BDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Peterson Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Peterson Show today.
Everyday hoop life.
Is it time to take your event online? Bring it to IKS Live. We've got a fully customized virtual event platform with remote guest support for your next fundraiser, talk show, conference, performance, and more. IKS Live offers live streaming to Facebook Live and YouTube and pre-recorded capabilities, both in our studio with green screen available and on location with pre-production and post-production services. IKS Live, the proud producer of The Rod Peterson Show and The Recovery Hour. Visit us at ikslive.ca.
Don't rack your brain trying to source the equipment and materials you need for your business. Rockstar can operate your entire supply chain, from PO creation to expediting your shipments, all from our office. Leverage the buying power of the Rockstar buying group to not only save money and time, but also the headache. From gloves to glue, we can provide it for you. Find out more at rockstar.com.
Smoky in the air, that's a lot of fun. Big time, big time, big time, big time. Big time.
Okay, we're back. We got two guys on set that are way better looking than Max. I say that every week, and every time we have guests on, Max always gives me the look. But anyways, from left to right, we got Colby Williams and Tristan Frye from Next Level Hockey Consulting, also their own hockey careers, and we'll get into that in a minute. First off, how you guys doing?
I'm doing really good.
Good.
Really good. Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. This will be your mic test to make sure the mic's working. We good, guys? Give me 3 knocks on the wall if we're good. Good. That's our test. That's our high-level technology we got going on over here. But anyways, boys, my mouse is turned off. It'd be nice if I could do this efficiently next time. There it is. Former University of Regina Cougars captain, 2-time SJHL champion, co-owner of Next Level Hockey Consulting, Tristan Frye. You're heading to England. We'll get into that.
Yeah.
We'll get into that for your first pro year of hockey. And then former Regina Pats captain, current member of the Belleville Senators after a stint with the Hershey Bears, former Washington Capitals, well, I guess not former, you were a Washington Capitals draft pick.
Yep.
Colby Williams.
Yep.
So, boys, we'll get into business, we'll get into hockey, your pro careers, everything in a sec. But you guys had an interesting summer on the ice. I was looking up, Tristan broke the news here that you guys had your own league. But I was looking at your adult safe stats, and I was like, holy cow, that's a good league. But you guys had your own league, too.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that. How'd that all break down? I was looking at some of the names. Man, there's some firepower here in Regina.
Yeah, sure. So we'll kind of give you the background story of how it happened last year. So we never really knew where we were going to be when our seasons were going to start. So we started skating as a pro group, about 30, 35 of us last September till, whenever we get called back. And it was actually Dave Struch's idea. He came over and had a cup of coffee with me and Colby.
Dave Struch.
Yeah.
Love that guy.
And he said, you know what? The practices are great, but I think it's time that guys start playing some games. So Colby and I and my brother sat down and we came up with this idea of us making teams and starting our own league. And we got refs and we got stats. And last year was kind of our first year, and then it just ran so well and guys loved it. So we thought we'd do it again this summer. And much like last year, was just a great success. A lot of high scoring games, but a lot of tight games. Playoffs was awesome, and it was just a great summer.
So I was looking at the adult safe stats are your stats for that league available for the public? Can I Google it?
They're on our Instagram
So I was looking at the adult safe league. I'll just go off that for reference. Like JC Lapon, I'm assuming is involved with you guys. Yep. He had 45 points in 11 games in adult safe, guys. That's adult safe for
He doesn't
you.
pass the puck, that's why.
Well, of course. There's a few other guys. And the one thing I noticed is that it's a real mix of ages. And Cole, maybe you can touch on this because you're you're right in the middle of it. Obviously, both you guys are the same age, but there's a lot of guys who are currently in the WHL or SJ or wherever they're playing. So they're late teens, 18, 19, 20. There's also guys who are like late 20s. So it's a real good mix of guys. Can you just talk about the mix of guys that you have out there?
Yeah, well, I mean, for adult safe, our team we played with a bunch of, 35, 40-year-olds. So it was kind of a funny little, back and forth we had in the dressing room, but it was a lot of fun. But for next level, yeah, I didn't know how big the community is in Regina, like the hockey community. There's so many good players, and especially young kids. Some guys will come out and skate with us, and how old is that guy? He was born 01.
Yeah,
or
we're hitting that age now. I know. I hate it.
or Cole Sillinger. He's in 03, I think, right?
Yeah.
So it's just
and the guy's built like a horse. Frick.
He's a beast. Yeah. So it's just amazing to see kind of all the young kids, funnel through, and I've noticed personally that my circle is getting bigger. Every day you meet new people, you meet new hockey guys, you meet their friends. So I think that's what is important to me, is to keep building that circle, and you just kind of it's a nice community family, and hopefully they feel the same way, and they can come reach us with whatever problems they have. Yeah. So it's just it's been a lot of fun, and we're excited to see where it goes.
Have you noticed, both of you guys? Have you noticed that you mentioned how many guys are in this area? Have you noticed a lot more guys are coming back to Regina to train? Because there's a lot of hotbeds for summer training down in Arizona and all these other places. But have you noticed Regina's kind of becoming more of a hotbed lately?
Yeah, so I think Colby can speak more for that, but for myself, Regina was always home for me for training but as you get higher up into the AHL and the NHL, Colby can kind of explain what he had to do, I guess.
Yeah, I just think finding ice was tough, especially in Saskatchewan. I feel, maybe it's, how you're raised, or maybe it's more blue collar, or guys just will always they'll go to Kelowna, they'll go to the Calgarys, or even Saskatoon has, you know, quite a good group of pro guys. But Regina never really had that, and we'd always joke about it when we have, you know, White City Ice and stuff at 6 a.m, and, you know, someone's going to do it. Who's going to do it? Like, we're just waiting for it. And then, you know, obviously Tristan and Taylor, well, Tristan contacted me, and, you know, we kind of started this, you know, our vision of what it could look like. And, you know, I'm kind of jealous of the young guys, you know, the kids that are 16, 17, 18 skating with us, skating with the pros. They get to see Ryan Murray. They get to see JC Lapon, you know, Brett Ferguson's, guys like that. So it's, and you have so many guys that are doing different things in different avenues. You know, a guy like Tris, who went to school for 4 years as a teacher, now he's going to play pro. Hopefully he plays pro for, you know, 7, 8 years, and then comes back and he's got his degree, and, you know, he can do what he wants with it. So, and then you got Ryan Murray, who was, you know, a stud growing up, and who's just a lifer in the NHL. So I think it's great to see the young kids see those paths and see it's possible, and they can actually, you know, see and touch them as a human being and not just on TV.
For sure. And we'll get into a little bit more of that as well down in later on in the interview. But that's one thing that I want to talk to you again about is, like, I played baseball growing up, and now compared to what it was when I was growing up, with the amount of opportunities for training and again, like the high level guys who are, anyways, we'll get into that, but I'll talk your ears off about baseball training. But let's go back to your junior careers, because I know a lot of people who are watching tonight probably remember you guys from your junior careers. Colby, obviously, with the Pats, Tristan in the SJ. Tristan, we'll start with you. You know, three good years in Melfort. Two that you ended off with back-to-back champions. Got a little RBC Cup run in there. Western Canada Cup in Estevan when I was there. Crushed us. But I wrote down, as a former Estevan Bruins employee, I'm very familiar with your work, Tristan. But anyways, back-to-back championships, all those runs. What was that like for you to kind of cap off your career?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's so special if you can win one championship, but to repeat it, you know, it's almost harder than the first one. For me, winning it as the captain as my last year, and as my last year leaving junior, I mean, what better opportunity than that? But, you know, I just think it's so special, and I think you can attest to how good junior hockey is. Junior A hockey is now becoming, especially in Western Canada, and I know me and Colby talk about it all the time with, you know, going the NCAA route or even U Sport route or WHL route, and there's no different, there's no wrong answer. I think everybody's unique, and everybody develops at a different age. And you know what? These are some conversations we're having with a lot of our clients still today, and I think what makes us unique is, like Colby said, I had the path of going junior A, Colby had the path of going WHL, so we can kind of give a perspective on both, and then leaving it up for, you know, our client or whoever's asking to make their decision.
So Colby, it's funny because I transitioned from the Bruins that year, the Western Canada Cup, into your 20-year-old run when I got my job with the Pats, and that was it was moonlighting with the Pats during that playoff run, and that was a pretty fun run in itself. But
yeah, it was.
Let's look back at your whole career, because you started off with the Pats at the end of the Jordan Eberle era, a little bit, and then you kind of got into your own groove, and the team was, you know, not so good, and then first place, and then second place, and like kind of a little bit of everything during your Pats career. And then you were captain, of course, and beat Lethbridge, I think, in your final year, right, in the first round, and then played Red Deer?
Red Deer lost in
memory
overtime,
Yeah, that was 6. But what a series, though.
Great series.
Let's just talk about as a whole. I mean, you don't have to go into every single year, every detail, but what would you encapsulate your Pats career like?
I don't think I understood how lucky I was to stay at home, and I don't think I really understood, you know, maybe the effect it had on my family and the effect it had on my friends, and you know, but looking back at it, you know, I really cherish that a lot, and especially my family was able to watch me for, you know, 4 or 5 years. I played a couple games when I was 15 and stuff, so yeah, that looking back on it, that's, you know, really great, and I am super fortunate. Not many guys can say that. So, but yeah, like you said, every year was pretty different. So I played 4 years, 17, 18, 19, 20, and I had a new coach.
I guess, yeah.
17, 18, 19, and then they were the same 19 and 20.
Yeah.
So, you know, going into every year is a little bit different. But my first year, tough. I don't want to say team, but you know, the results weren't there. And then really good when I was 19, and I thought we had the team to do it, but then, you know, we had to make those trades and stuff like that, which was crushing. But then, to finish off 20-year-old year, obviously some injuries, but, I can't speak more highly than I do about Dave Struch and John Paddock and Brad Haroff. They totally changed my hockey career around, my passion for the game. I don't think I'd be playing if it wasn't for them. And I can't say enough good things. I mean, I tell funny stories about them all the time, but everything I just feel like I remembered everything they told me and everything that time they brought me into the office and, every funny little joke they said. So, and I still keep in touch with them today. So it was a great time in my life for me, and I'm really happy for the relationships that occurred there.
Well, you talk about turning your career around. 2 weeks ago, we had Adam Brooks on the show. And, talk about turning a career around. That guy did pretty good for himself too.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your pro careers now, just because we have both of you here, and that's such a big part of what you're doing right now. Mm-hmm. Let's stick with you, Colby. Obviously drafted by the Capitals. You started with the Bears. The Bears, when you were picked, were kind of like a Regina Pats funnel. Chandler, Stevenson, Connor Hobbs, yourself.
Yep.
Garrett Mitchell, my buddy from high school.
There you go.
My buddy Garrett Mitchell. Guy crushed me in Pee Wee one time. It still hurts. But anyways, it was kind of a Pats funnel for you. Mm-hmm. That must have been nice to kind of help your transition into pro hockey, I would imagine.
It was great, and that was when I was just kind of going through those injuries, and the future was a little foggy and blurry and stuff. But when I was black acing with Connor Hobbs at the end of my 20-year-old year, so we both get drafted the same year. We both get the black ace, and then Garrett Mitchell kind of just takes us under his wing, and we're having
Great
dinners.
Dude,
unbelievable. He's when he was there, he was probably 25, and
Yeah.
he acted like a 40-year-old man.
Was he the captain yet? Because he was the captain while you were there, right? For a year?
Yeah, he was the captain the whole time I was there.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
25-year-old pro captain. I mean,
Which you don't
doesn't-
see very often. Ever.
No, but he's the guy.
He's that type of guy. He's
Yeah.
a family man. He always does the right thing, sticks up for his teammates, and I was really lucky to kind of have him show me like how to set up a banking account, how to get my social insurance number all set up, and housing and everything. So I was really fortunate to have him, and we had really good teams too. So the only thing that sucked was my first year I was the only rookie on the team.
Oh boy! So you had the rookie dinner bill on your
Oh, that, yes.
I
And
bet
like
there's
cleaning
more.
the bus, packing stuff.
Oh, no.
Everything
Pick up
was
pucks.
me. Picking up pucks, yeah. It was just, I was
Only
the
guy.
only rookie,
Wow, that doesn't happen very often.
No,
and
it
then the
doesn't.
next year there was probably like 13.
Oh, yeah. I was the oldest guy on the team next year.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Tristan, going to your side now, you had the unique opportunity, like Colby mentioned, 4 years university, and now you're heading over to England, which is probably pretty cool. So how did that all come about for you?
So, for me, I guess in January of this year when the East Coast said that they were going to start up, I had a few offers to go and play, but it was really important for me to get my schooling done. I had 3 months left. I just told myself I'm right there. Once I get it done, then the hockey opportunities will open up, and I'm really fortunate because Brett Ferguson, a guy that we skate with, he kind of put me in contact with his coach, and my agent did a really good job with film, and I had a meeting with the coach at Guildford, and we had just had like a really good connection, and he said he was willing to bring me in, and ultimately if it wasn't for Brett advocating for me and kind of telling him what kind of player I was, I don't know if I'd be heading over, and what better of a mentor than Brett. So I'm super lucky that I get to go there, and kind of like Colby and almost Garrett Mitchell, that's going to kind of be like me and Brett. And
that's perfect.
I'm excited. Lots of Canadians in the league. Tanner Eberle skates with us. Sam Ruop is there. He skates with us.
Nice.
So, and then obviously Ian McNulty, who skates with us, he's on my team as well. So I'm going to a team full of familiar faces, which is pretty unheard of when you head over the pond. So.
And the cool part about England is there's like 1,000 pro soccer teams in that country.
Yeah.
So like you can go down the road, there's probably a 100,000 seat stadium just waiting for you to go to a cool event or something.
Chelsea, I guess, is pretty close to us.
Okay, there you go.
Fergie was saying that we sometimes share the same bus as them whenever. So he says it's pretty cool with granite countertops and lazy boys. He said it's nothing like over here, so I'm looking forward to
The
it.
pay from Chelsea to the EIHL is probably a little different,
A little
I would
bit
think.
different, yeah.
So let's talk about Next Level Hockey Consulting. You guys started this up together, and your brother Taylor,
Yeah.
right? So it's such a great idea, and I mentioned it earlier, where the training opportunities, and by the way, Tanner Jeannot and Max Ritz in the background are just the most annoying guys. I'm kidding, you guys. Such a great, there's so many opportunities now compared to when I was growing up, you guys were growing up. We're 4 years apart, but it's not that different. There's just so many guys that are like yourselves who are starting up these opportunities now, and like you said, being able to work with pros, I feel like is such a big thing. So where did this all start for you guys? I know you kind of mentioned it already, but what were your initial goals when you started all of this?
Sure. So I actually worked with Dave Nadiak. He was assistant coach of the UR Cougars.
Yep.
So me and him, he actually started it, and then he brought me along as kind of a co-owner, and we just did camps here and then. But then Dave got a head coaching job in BC, so he left. So I actually bought the company from him, and then from there, I brought my brother along. And then we, during COVID hit, we kind of, me and my brother sat down, and I've known Colby since I was 3 or 4 years old. Best friends, and what better of a person to bring along than Colby Williams. So it was a no-brainer for us to reach out with his hockey knowledge, his character, who he is in the community, and we brought him along. And then we were just sitting in the backyard, I think in April of 2020, and we said, let's rebrand. So we got a logo who was true to us. So the 3 Wheat Chiefs represents Taylor, Colby, and I. And then from there we kind of said, where do we go from here? So we did pros all summer, and then we did 5 minor hockey camps, and then it just kind of kept going all year, which COVID was kind of I don't want to say a blessing, but it kind of was for us 3, because Colby and I got to live together for 8 months in JC's house, actually. So
nice.
We got to stay, and we got to get a clientele going and all that stuff, and that's kind of how Next Level Hockey started. And we wouldn't be where we are if it wasn't for our pros and our juniors and our minor hockey and Hockey Regina as a whole, just kind of embracing us and letting us do our thing and trusting us, and it's just been amazing.
So what kind of training do you do? What age groups do you primarily work with? Is it all on ice? Do you do off ice stuff? What do you guys, I saw some education stuff on your website. So I don't know, Colby, what are your kind of main primary targets?
Well, I think in the summer, our main is, our pros and our juniors they run throughout the whole summer, but we run a full week of camps with our U13 this year, and we have, about 10, 15 kids that have been, Tristan and Taylor coached them in the brick tournament, and they're awesome kids, and so we run their camp, and then we have
the junior Pats?
Junior Pats, yeah.
So then we did that this summer and last summer, and then a U15. Then we also try to get involved with the female side of it as well. So we ran a CAS and Midget AAA camp at the start of August, and then now we're just doing a U15 female camp as well, because girls hockey in Regina is pretty great.
Yeah, it is.
And I think if we can get kind of the girls side going as well, I think we can even make that bigger. You see the guys side, what we do with them, and where they're going and stuff like that. I think hopefully it can kind of rub off on the female side, that kind of making Regina a hub of even more than it already is. So our age groups, kind of everything, but we try to mainly focus on our pros and our juniors in the summer for sure.
Perfect. You guys mostly operate out of the
Cooperators
now? That big, for those who aren't in Regina, massive facility, probably within the last, decade, 10 years?
Yeah, 10 years or so.
That they've built this. It's 4 or 5 rinks, and then the big one for the Cougars, so 6, I think, right?
6, yeah.
So that has probably opened a lot of doors. And you said it earlier, ice availability. It was never there. It was always super expensive, and now this is here. So has that kind of changed the game for you guys in terms of what you guys do and just in general?
Yeah, I mean, the cooperators have been amazing to us. Whenever we need ice, they work with us closely, and we just kind of send them what we want, and we've always been able to get it, so we're really thankful for them. And then, we've also been partnered with a the gym, Adrenaline Strength, which Jeannot and Colby and I train out of with Deanna Wells. She's very good and well educated. So, we're kind of trying to bring all these components in with, hockey, weightlifting, education, and then we also, provide, other services as well. So we've made videos to send out to teams as recruitment videos for kids. So we try to do it all, and if we can't, we'll put you in the hands of somebody that will. So.
Where can everybody find you guys? I know you guys are pretty active on social. Where's the best place to find you guys?
You can find us on our Instagram, Facebook, and we actually just got a brand new website made, which will be active, we're hoping this week or next week, so that will be live, and then you can kind of book us through there. I'm leaving, Colby's leaving very well soon, but Taylor will still be here kind of manning the ship, and we've going to bring on some other guys to help him as well. So
perfect. And I saw Tanner, I think, was Tanner in your profile pic right now? I think you guys had like a workout pic. Was Tanner involved in that, or was he not?
We had a photo shoot at Adrenaline.
Right. I saw Logan Nyhoff was, I think, in there.
Yeah.
And then a bunch of the girls that you guys are working with, probably.
Yeah.
A few other guys.
Yeah, Duro and Hobowatz.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good group, guys.
Yeah.
I was still looking at your stats and like just going down the list. I'm like, okay, that's a good group. Probably a good group to train with in the summer.
Yeah.
But anyways, guys, look forward to watching you guys all season, following your careers. Good luck in England.
Thank you very much.
Super pumped for that. And thanks for coming in, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
All right.
Thanks for having us.
Right after the break, I'm going to get out of here because Max is vibrating off set right now. A Nashville Predator is here, guys. Tanner Jeannot is going to pop into the studio. We're going to let Max and Tanner talk for a little while, and we'll see you guys in a couple of minutes.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Peterson Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Peterson Show today.
Everyday hoop life.
Is it time to take your event online? Bring it to IKS Live. We've got a fully customized virtual event platform with remote guest support for your next fundraiser, talk show, conference, performance, and more. IKS Live offers live streaming to Facebook Live and YouTube and pre-recorded capabilities, both in our studio with green screen available and on location with pre-production and post-production services. IKS Live, the proud producer of The Rod Peterson Show and The Recovery Hour. Visit us at ikslive.ca.
Don't rack your brain trying to source the equipment and materials you need for your business. Rockstar can operate your entire supply chain, from PO creation to expediting your shipments, all from our office. Leverage the buying power of the Rockstar buying group to not only save money and time, but also the headache. From gloves to glue, we can provide it for you. Find out more at rockstar.com.
Smoky in the air, that's a lot of pie. Big time, big time, big time, big time. Big time.
Welcome back, everybody. Anybody who knows me and who's tuned into this show even once, twice, 6 times maybe knows how excited I am to welcome in our next guest, former Moose Jaw Warrior, current Nashville Predators forward, hailing from Oxbow, Saskatchewan, Tanner Jeannot. Tanner, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great.
Fantastic, man. It's obviously been a busy off-season in Nashville, but a busy one for you too personally. We were just chatting off air, purchased a house, all that good stuff. How's it been treating you overall?
Oh, yeah, it's been a crazy year. Just with COVID and everything and having the season being what it was, the shortened up a little bit, but just try to make the most of it every day, and it ended up working out pretty good for me. So signed that contract a few weeks ago and got engaged at the start of the summer as well. So yeah, it's been a pretty big summer and it's been pretty awesome. So
well, congratulations across the board. A couple of awesome milestones in addition to obviously the careers on a very, very good trajectory. But I guess outside of training with the boys at Next Level, what have you been doing outside of training, outside of buying a house and getting engaged? Do you like to hit the sticks on the golf course? What's an off day look like for Tanner?
Yeah, I like to get out on the golf course. I'm not going to say I'm any good at it, but I enjoy it. So yeah, I like doing that. My fiance and I really love the mountains, so we try to get out there and do some hiking out in Kananaskis and Banff and everything like that. So that's kind of what we try to do. Other than that, we're just around here with family, seeing them when we can while we're back in Canada, and just training other than that. So
absolutely. And we were talking about it off air too, a 19-hour road trip with your dog as well. Got to give us the name of the dog. What kind of dog is he? He's the companion, hey?
Her name's Oakley. She's a Husky Pyrenees. She's really big and scary looking, but she's really scared of everyone else. So she's all bark, no bite. All bark, no bite.
Well, I tell you what, as things, I guess, wind down in the summer here, are you at the point in your summer where you're just raring to get going back to camp, back to Nashville and get the season going? Or is it still maybe 10 more days off will be a nice thing to enjoy?
I'm really excited to get back. Yeah, there comes a point in the off season where you've had your time off and training's in the gym starting to get a little bit old and you just want to get doing the real thing. So that's what I'm really looking forward to, is just getting back, seeing all the guys, getting back into a routine, going to the rink, and just seeing what Nashville's doing right now. I just want to get back there and feel the energy of that city again. So it's going to be awesome once I get back there.
And you said your first taste of it was absolutely fantastic. Hey, you said the energy, the fans. Are you a country music guy as well? Obviously playing in the Music City, that's your go-to.
Oh yeah,
awesome.
Love country.
Obviously concerts just kind of starting to get back in the swing of things. Did you have a chance in your 6 weeks to get back to one at Bridgestone, or is there a couple that you got marked on the calendar for this coming year?
Yeah, well, we've been kind of checking around to see who's coming, but last year we couldn't, just with COVID and everything. Right. So we had to stay into a pretty tight bubble, but definitely looking into the future. If things are more back to normal, we'll be seeing who's coming for sure.
Awesome. Well, we'll get to some hockey talk here shortly. The 2021 season for yourself, obviously it was quite a few states. When you got to Nashville, it was traveling in the division, but your season started in Florida to Chicago to Nashville. Can you just kind of sum up what last year in a whole was like from January all the way through to June, July kind of thing?
Yeah, well, even before January, just this time last year, we had really no clue what was going to be happening, if I was going to have a job, if we were even going to get to play. So it's just been a really crazy year, just like everyone's had. So, but ended up all working out. We got things going, and yeah, December I started out. Nashville wanted me to go down and play some games. The East Coast was the first league to start going, so I went and played a few games with the Florida Everblades there. Spent Christmas there in Florida, and then from there went to Nashville for camp and did camp there, played some exhibition games, and then ended up getting sent down to Chicago this year. Nashville's usual farm team is Milwaukee, who had to unfortunately end up opting out of the season. But Chicago was fortunate and generous enough to allow Nashville to share with Carolina. So that's where I ended up going. And yeah, I was just telling you off air how I had to, the only way I could get my truck down was to fly all the way back here to Regina, got in around midnight, and then I had to go back right away because I would have had to quarantine here, and I just had to go straight back to the States. So I couldn't see anybody. I couldn't do anything. I just went straight back down, drove 19 hours straight to Chicago. So, but yeah, it went good. I had the dog for some company, and it was all good. But yeah, I got there and just getting ready for another American League start. And it was a little more different this year, I guess. I was put into a little bit more of a leadership role, which I hadn't seen before, being a younger guy. But with the team that we had there, it was quite young. We had lots of junior age players. We had guys like Phil Tomasino, who's a young guy in the Predators organization, and guys like Seth Jarvis, who's a young guy in Carolina organization, plays in Portland. So it was just a different kind of dynamic of the team. So I ended up wearing a letter for them and just getting some more opportunities that I hadn't had in years past. So I just wanted to make the most of that and use every opportunity that I got, and ended up working out pretty good. I can't remember my numbers, I don't think, but it was somewhere around 20 points in 13 games or something like that. So, and I think my 2 years before that, my max points in a full season was 20 points. So I ended up picking up my point production quite a bit, and it got me a look in Nashville. Got called up in February and got my first taste against Carolina. We didn't have the best game. We went down 3-0 pretty quick, but and that's not always good for your first game. You don't see the ice too much after that. But ended up going back down to Chicago, continuing to play well, and got a second chance and came up. I knew that I could play at that level at that point. I had my eyes adjusted, and they weren't so wide this time, and ended up doing really well and stayed in the lineup and got to play some playoff hockey, which was a great experience. So yeah, it was a crazy year. That's kind of it in a nutshell.
Absolutely. No, and I mean, it goes without saying, you quickly endeared yourself to the fans, the front office, coaches, teammates alike. And obviously the biggest thing that stuck out for me as a fan was, again, the second time you rejoined the team, that early game against Dallas. And I guess the only question I've got for you is, what did it feel like making John Klingberg look like a teenager out there? All seriousness, though, I mean, it didn't take long, again, to endear yourself to the fans. And overall, your first experience in the NHL, was it everything that you dreamed of?
Everything and more. You know, that first game there, like I said, my eyes were really wide, and there's so many things going through your head. Like, I've worked my whole life to get here. I want to play good, but at the same time, I'm on the ice with these guys that you grow up watching and guys that are in the spotlight that you see, and you want to be in their shoes, and you don't really know if you belong there. You haven't played at that level yet, and you just kind of have those thoughts that go through your head, which, you know, you got to get over. It's part of being an athlete. But my eyes were pretty wide that game. But after that game, I knew that I could play at that level. I had seen it, and I knew the pace, I knew the skill, and I just used that. I knew that I could play at that level after that game. And when I went down, I just played the way I know I can play in Chicago, got my second chance, and didn't look back from there.
Absolutely. And again, it goes without saying, obviously, your performance opened the eyes of the front office. This summer, when there was an expansion draft going on, and the Nashville Predators being the only team in the league to protect 3 forwards, and you earned a protection slot, what message does that send to you as a player, that vote of confidence, to know that I've earned a protection slot where a team can only say 8 guys are on our team for sure? What does that say to you as a player?
Yeah, it was definitely a little bit unexpected, and I try not to read too much into that. There's always so much going on behind the scenes that, as a player, you don't see. So I don't know the ins and outs of the decision that they made for that reason, and I just want to, it does show a vote of confidence in me, and it gives me pride to say that I was protected by them, but I'm not going to use it as anything other than what it is, and I'm just going to keep working and keep proving that I belong there, and proving that I'm someone that they want to keep protecting, and keep hopefully enjoying myself, and that the fans enjoy the way I play, and just putting on a good show, but winning some games while we're doing it.
Absolutely. And fortified, like you said, by that 2-year extension. And I think I speak for all of us in Smashville fandom when I say that very excited that you're going to be in the fold for the next couple of years, especially with the direction of the team. Young guys like yourself, that heart, grit, tenacity, all those things that you want to see embodied in a hockey team. And again, we were kind of talking about it off air, but it was kind of a tale of 2 seasons for the Preds last year. Obviously, the first half of the year, and then the second half, some injuries take place. Guys like yourself, another group or crop of young guys in the organization get an opportunity to come in and go on a stretch run to get in against, again, a team you're very familiar with in the AHL, and obviously being in the Central Division in the Carolina Hurricanes. Can you just speak to what it was like being on that kind of run in your rookie season, getting into the playoffs and going toe-to-toe with the division champs?
Yeah, it was definitely a really cool experience, and I learned a lot along the road. Yeah, there was lots of young players that came in and had that energy that we brought. But at the same time, there was also the veterans that kind of guided us along the way, and the leadership in that room that kind of honed in all the energy that the young guys had. Because, like I said, being a young guy, your eyes are kind of wide sometimes, and you just need that steady hand of the veterans to kind of guide you along the right path. So it was just a really good mix, I think, and it's something that we want to continue to build in Nashville, playing that gritty, hard-nosed game, but with a touch of skill, which there's a lot of it there. So we just want to put it all together this year, continue to build as a team, and obviously go as far as we can. That's the goal for every team. So it was definitely a great learning experience, and getting into the playoffs and seeing what playoff hockey is like was really beneficial for everyone as well. So That's where we want to get to again.
Absolutely. And again, music to my ears as a fan. So that's awesome to hear, Tanner. And that's all I got really for serious ones for you. Just a few more fun ones to end off. Once again, thank you very much for your time tonight. Yep. But obviously the Central Division, it was a locked-in schedule last year where you guys were just exclusively playing within the division. Assuming that you're a guy that probably likes to travel, and again, getting your first taste of a full season in the NHL this year, do you have a couple of cities, again, circled on the calendar that you might have an off day that you're excited to go explore and check out that you haven't yet?
Oh, yeah. Really, everywhere when you're traveling in the NHL is pretty awesome. It's just a little bit different than the minor leagues, but... Yeah, I love going to California and Florida and all those fun, sunny places. But I think a really special one for me will be Winnipeg, because being from Oxbow, it's the closest drive. I think it's only about 4.5, 5 hours. So
absolutely,
that'll be a really special one. My family will be there and lots of people from back home. So I'm looking forward to that one. And then also, like, all the other Canadian teams, Calgary, Edmonton. I have some family and friends out in Alberta. So those ones are definitely special, and I'll really enjoy those ones. And also the nice places that you can go, like California and stuff. So.
I hear New York's pretty nice in hockey season too. A light snowfall, always a fun town to visit maybe. But
yeah.
I love it. But growing up, Tanner, I guess, who were some of your idols in the game? Who were some guys that maybe you modeled your game after? Or I know Clark and I talk about it all the time, Paul Correa, which is how I ended up being a Preds fan when he was there for a couple of years. But who were some of your idols growing up? And again, guys that maybe you model your game after?
Yeah. Well, my favorite player growing up was always Pavel Datsyuk. Not exactly a guy that I modeled my game after, but he was just so fun to watch. I really, really loved watching him. And then, just kind of looking around the league, I try to be a guy that brings that physical presence, but also can skate and make some plays and play with some good players. So really, I just try to watch every team and see what guys stand out to me that do that, and I try to watch what they're doing on the ice and add some elements to my game. And my goal is to get better every day, so I like watching hockey and watching to see what guys are doing, and it was good. So, yeah.
Absolutely. And I guess in this locker room specifically, and I just got a couple that I want to know from the bottom of my heart, and being in that locker room, like you said, a lot of veteran presence, and knowing that there's been some turnover with the team, guys that have left the team since you were playing in Moose Jaw, Victor Arvidsson or Ryan Ellis. Who were some of the guys that really were the leaders in the locker room for you guys in Nashville, especially, like you said, in the back half of the year when you started experiencing some success?
Yeah, well, definitely those guys like Ellie and Yossi, all the guys that wear letters, Ekholm, Johansson, Forsberg, those guys. They're all not always the most vocal, but their presence in the room, and you watch and learn from them as much as you can. And then just the room in general, it was, like I said, it was an older group when we came in, and they all just had so much experience, and they were confident about it. So just watching them and learning from everybody and just trying to bring everything in from all the experience that they have in that room, I just tried to be a sponge and learn all I could from them.
Absolutely. And last one for me, again, from the bottom of my heart, is Pekka Rinne really as nice a guy as everyone says he is?
He really is.
He really is.
He's one of the nicest guys I've ever met. He's
That's
awesome.
fantastic. Well, Tanner, that's all I've got for you tonight. Again, greatly appreciate the time. Congratulations on all the success that you've had on the ice as well as off the ice. It's fantastic to see that another good Sasky kid is just doing really good things in the show. And once again, really appreciate your time tonight, my friend.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Fantastic. Well, guys, coming up after the break, we're going to talk some Blue Jays. It's been a bit of a tough go as of late. Clarky, what's the score? You don't have it. I know you don't. That's all right. Corey Dickerson, last time I checked, hit a home run to get the game within 4 runs. But either way, we'll talk some Blue Jays after the break, and I'm going to be that guy. I might grab an autograph from Tanner Jeannot here in the break, but we'll see you in 2.5 minutes, guys. Take care.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. BDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Peterson Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Peterson Show today.
Everyday hoop life.
Is it time to take your event online? Bring it to IKS Live. We've got a fully customized virtual event platform with remote guest support for your next fundraiser, talk show, conference, performance, and more. IKS Live offers live streaming to Facebook Live and YouTube and pre-recorded capabilities, both in our studio with green screen available and on location with pre-production and post-production services. IKS Live, the proud producer of The Rod Peterson Show and The Recovery Hour. Visit us at ikslive.ca.
Don't rack your brain trying to source the equipment and materials you need for your business. Rockstar can operate your entire supply chain, from PO creation to expediting your shipments, all from our office. Leverage the buying power of the Rockstar buying group to not only save money and time, but also the headache. From gloves to glue, we can provide it for you. Find out more at rockstar.com.
Smoky in the air, that's a lot of pie. Big time, big time, big time, big time. Big time.
Max, what a night.
What a night.
What a night. We're not done yet.
And you know what's the best part about it is, so you look at it and guys that represent your favorite team, salt of the earth guys, hardworking guys like that, man, it fortifies everything about why we love this game. It's good people doing great things in the sport that we love. So,
and one thing, I should have yelled it out, but one thing about Tanner that a lot of people, if you don't know, you should, but if you do know, this is why you love guys like that. Tanner Jeannot, when he was 17, he was a fourth liner for the Warriors, 5 points. I think we were looking at it earlier, 5 points in like 52 games or something. A guy that, maybe there was question marks about him in junior hockey at that point. Will he be back in the WHL? Is he going to go play in the SJHL? That right there can change a lot in a young man's hockey career.
Absolutely.
Comes back the next year, one of the workhorses on the team. Coach loves him, gives him opportunities. 17 goals as an 18-year-old. 19-year-old comes back, 50 points. 20-year-old comes back, 82 points, 40 goals. One of the leaders on the team, and he's physical. He's not afraid to throw the body around,
Absolutely.
maybe throw a few knuckles if he has to. And that's the small town kind of guy here in Saskatchewan. A lot of the players come from Saskatchewan. That's why they're pros.
Smashville appreciates a guy that can go out and smash bodies. That's
Absolutely.
for sure. And you know what? Like you said, Clark, at the end of the day, it's that Saskatchewan mentality, right? They always say, especially for hockey players, there's something in the water here. It's called work ethic, determination, and a will not to give up no matter what your draft standing is, if you were drafted or not. And at the end of the day, as much as I really enjoyed the time with Tanner there and getting to know him a little bit, Colby and Tris, again, another couple of guys that just embody that spirit to a T. And I'm very, very happy for all of their successes across the board, always doing Regina and the province of Saskatchewan proud. So it's been a fantastic episode, that's for sure.
And capitalizing on opportunities. And Max, I'm going to capitalize on this opportunity and crack open our Great Western. Now, hold on. This is the Ultra Brew House. I think that was a pretty good sponsor segue. Hey?
That was a great
I'm going to capitalize on this opportunity to crack open a fresh, ice-cold Brew House Ultra.
Logos out.
This one's harder because I guess there's two logos, so you can do.
Clark,
both.
And you're on it. It's nice and chilly tonight.
Yeah, I had it in the fridge. I was chilling it. I thought the boys would drink it, but they're all pro hockey players, so
I was gonna say that's right.
They're very selective on when they drink their beers
Absolutely.
or beverages. I should
100%.
say. But anyways, this is the 100-calorie 4-carb option from Brew House Ultra. This is a Great Western product. It just got released. I think this summer.
This was a very, very popular hit at the bachelor party that I went to a few weeks ago. Very, very popular hit when you've got to consume quite a few beverages to keep up with the boys. Logos out, of course.
Yeah, 4 carbs, 100 calories. So, with all the rage of all the hard seltzers and stuff, this is a beer along the lines of the calorie and carb intake of what a hard seltzer is. It's 100 calories. You can chug a ton of them, like you said. And
doesn't hit you as hard as Tanner's, but it tries.
Hey, da-don't. I haven't been hit by Tanner Jeannot, but I can imagine.
I don't want to be. At the end, you look, that's a guy that you can tell is taking his off-season program very, very seriously.
Now, he's from Oxbow, but he's built like an ox. I'll tell you that.
I didn't even get into that with him, but Chris Mason affectionately dubbed Nashville's fourth line the herd line, which is where Tanner started, because you've got Tanner Jeannot from Oxbow, Saskatchewan, the Ox.
Yeah.
Yakov Trenin, the Yak.
Okay.
And Colton Colt Sisson. So you got a Colt, a Yak, and an Ox for the herd line.
Nailed
on
it.
the fourth line. And
Chris
they
Mason
were
knows his stuff. He's
Chris
pretty good
Mason
at his job.
does. If he's listening to this, by the way, Chris, love to have you on sometime.
Come on the show,
my friend.
Chris.
Love to have you on. We talk Preds quite a bit.
My brother told us a Chris Mason story, remember?
He did. That's right. A great Chris
friend
Mason
of the show.
story.
Did he say it on the show or was that pre-show?
We need to get your brother back on this show,
We
by
should.
the way.
I'll text him. I know the
Absolutely.
guy.
That was one of my favorite episodes, honestly.
I know a guy who knows a guy how to get a hold
You'll
of
get
him.
in touch with his people?
Yeah. Was that because one of the things that when we were back in our other studio, we were testing video calls, and just my brother wanted to see if he could make it work. And
by the way, sorry, before you go on,
yeah.
I love the way that you big time. Back when we were in our other studio, our smaller studio. Now we've got a much larger arrangement. We got beers in the sponsor rack.
We were testing the video call, and again, we start our show at 7:00 our time. So my brother checks in. I think it was 5.
It's like 5:30 or something.
5:00,
Yeah.
and we ended up talking to him for like an hour and a half, to the point where Jordan's like, "Can you please hang up? I need to start the show." So I can't remember what we talked about with him on the show or off the show.
Everything. It was
Scott,
awesome.
You're on the list.
But you know what? I tell you what, though, the next time we do have Scott on, again, the only thing missing from that conversation was a nice product from our friends at Great
and we'll
Western
have to get him in studio when he's back in Canada.
Absolutely.
And we'll have to share
again,
some
your
with him.
people line that up with his people.
Yeah.
Just make sure you keep tabs on that.
I'll
right?
talk to his agent
Good
or
stuff.
something. Or maybe I'll just text him directly. I don't know.
Nah.
But one of his stories was about his rookie year. Or no, it was when he was in college playing in Alabama, which is close to Tennessee. Obviously, they're next door. And Chris Mason was with the Predators playing at the time, and they had a night out on the town, and it was funny. I can't remember if he told that on the show. I think it was pre-show.
Might have been pre-show.
Maybe we'll get that on the show next time.
It was a great story.
Yeah, it was.
I do remember that story fondly.
And just remember, this was 2004, 5, 6, somewhere in that range. Cell phones weren't a big thing at that time. So that's part of the night out on the town.
And yet he's only aged 5 years since then, Scott.
Yeah.
So compliments across the board,
Let's get into the Bluebird block. It is that time of night as we continue to sip our Great Western products.
Great Western Nightcap.
Brought to you by RBI Baseball and Softball Training in Regina. Here, the Blue Jays win 2-1 the other night against the White Sox. Alec Manoah, we said it earlier in the show, battled hard and was able to pull out a victory. It wasn't an easy game, and I saw a lot of people on Twitter and the social media experts. They were all saying Manoah shut them down. And when I was watching and listening to the game, I was driving home from Saskatoon, so I was listening. But it was one of those games where it's like, it seemed like every batter was at a 2-2, 3-2 count, deep into counts with a lot of hitters, but would end up winning the battle or get a big defensive play. And that's a sign of a good pitcher. That you're not always going to have your most dominant night. And we talked about this with
Ross Stripling. We've talked about it with a few different people.
You were
Craig
telling
Ballard.
me. Yeah, I think it was.
We've talked with Craig.
Who was it with the
Craig? He said
you're going to have 5 really bad, 5 really good, and the rest you have to battle.
And the rest you have to battle. Exactly.
And
you're going to have your stuff some nights you're not going to have it at all. And the rest are going to be grind through your 5 or 6 innings. And I think that was, again, just going back to Alec Manoah, that was exactly the start that he needed after a really, really tough one in Washington. Obviously, he went on the bereavement list for a reason that we still don't know, or at least I haven't checked in on. Regardless, it looks like
I think it was a death in the family.
Death in the family. So again, condolences. Unfortunately, it's been that kind of week. But when it comes to Alec, and again, just his mental makeup, right? I think that was one of the biggest things when we saw the scouting report when the Jays picked him up. I believe first-round pick in 2019 out of West Virginia. The big thing about him was abilities. Yes, vehemently. But the mental makeup to just be able to have a quick memory if something bad happens in the game, be the competitor, be that guy that against a loaded lineup, much like the Chicago White Sox, shout out to our good friend Brian Snow, who I was texting back and forth with during a great 2-1 ball game, a classic ball game, as I would like to call it. When you got
classic ball game, as Buck Martinez would say. You really got to get nasally when you do a Buck Martinez.
Nasally, yeah. But Luis Robert, Jose Abreu, Yohan Moncada,
Cesar Hernandez, good hitter.
Their lineup is just as deep as the Jays. So you know what? Sometimes you are going to get into those 2-2, 3-2 counts against good hitters, but he won a lot of battles and ended up getting the result in the WAR last night. So great on Alec. Unfortunately, we don't have a better game to speak of tonight. However, tonight, that was really one that stood out for me this week.
Jose Barrios, I got the report tonight, 5-1. I think it was over 5-1.
Yeah.
Jose Barrios gets pulled after 3 innings. A weird stat line, and we'll talk about this maybe a little bit. Jose Barrios coming over, obviously the big trade splash for the Blue Jays. He's got all the stuff you want in a starting pitcher. Every pitch looks dominant. Every pitch looks scary. Strikeout pitch. He comes in, wins his first game, but since then, he just hasn't looked like he's settled. And that's one thing we talked to with Ross. The first time we had Ross Stripling on was, maybe how are you settling into the season? He's like, it took me a few outings, and then I feel like I'm feeling better out there. I'm working on a few things, and it's not always easy to come over from being with a team for, what is it, 5-6 years now?
He's been there quite some time, yeah.
To then jumping onto the Blue Jays, a new pitching coach, new strategy, new catchers. Catchers are super underrated, guys. And coming from a couple of pitchers, Max, I think you can attest, your communication and your connection and your relationship with a catcher can change so much. I remember, I won't name names, but
I will. So you finish and I will.
Well, Chris Unschreiner, a friend from RBI, was one of them. But going from Chris to one of our other catchers on our team, or going into my time, I was lucky enough to play with Team Saskatchewan, and getting a catcher from a different city or something you haven't played with. Maybe they look a little different. Maybe they size their glove a little differently. Maybe they position themselves a little differently. And it's all mental. It's all eyes.
Absolutely.
It just looks different. It feels different. It's not the same. So I think for Barrios, with the amount of talent and ability that he has, it's clear. It's there. We've seen it. Every time he pitches, we've seen it. 6 strikeouts tonight in 3 innings. didn't have a good night. 6 strikeouts in 3 innings.
And 6 strikeouts is what some guys will acquire over 2 starts in this league, right? Like, it's absolutely crazy. And I will name names, and you hit it right on the head, my friend. Again, great segue to our fantastic sponsors and partners over at RBI Baseball. But Paul Vogelsang, the amount of success I had in a 2-3 year stretch when he was my catcher, the guy that was the calming presence behind the dish for me, the guy that could give me a laugh when I was having a bit of a struggling moment. It's all those intangibles that catchers are highly underrated for. And that's the thing where you alluded to it perfectly, Clark. It's for a guy like Jose Barrios, who has had as much success as he had in the Twins organization. We have to remember that pitchers are people too, guys.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, like you said, we were talking about the Twitter and all of these. Twitter is a horrible place sometimes. By the
terrible.
way, it just is. But all these people that are
awful.
calling out. Oh,
shout out to our Twitter viewers, by the way.
shout out to our Twitter viewers. That's right. Absolutely. You guys are fantastic. It's
you're great.
Yeah, exactly. But when it comes to just some of the hate and the misguided comments and the uneducated comments of, really, this is the prospect package we gave up for this guy, guys, give the man a handful of starts. Let's also be realistic, much like our friend Craig Ballard says about, you know what, maybe the Jays are just 1 year early. They just might be, and that's okay. With the type of season, we have to look at all the variables that account for an 162-game stretch, and this guy will be a stud for the Toronto Blue Jays next year. That is what matters most. He's going to get acclimated this year in a season where, regardless of his, achievements on the hill, it was going to be a tough sled for the Jays to get in, and we still have yet to officially knock the season on the head yet, but it's getting to that point where we might be able to call curtains, unfortunately, but that doesn't mean that next year is not promising with what this young group has gone through this year.
It's a real uphill battle at this point, and I think you mentioned it here, but they lost too many games in the last little stretch. You know, that 9-2 homestand led to a lot of windows and doors opening, and then they kind of shot themselves in the foot with that road trip with the Tigers and the Mariners.
With teams that should have been beatable.
Should have beat them. That Nationals 2-game stretch.
But, I mean, we go back to there's various weeks in this season. We'll still talk about it over the next 5 weeks.
Hold on a sec.
Yeah.
It's not coming down to those games are going to cost them a season. There was a ton way back earlier. Of course, we talked about it all season. They blew games late in games. They didn't hit. Their bats went dead for a while.
If baseball was a 5-inning game, the Jays would have 100 wins already.
Exactly.
Like, it's just been absolutely insane to see, unfortunately, the collapses in the latter parts of games. We talked about it. The number one concern at the start of the year, we'll say it many more times, starting pitching, and that has been the least bit of concern of this Blue Jays group. So regardless of an odd Jose Barrios bad start here or there, he is not the reason for the Jays predicament that they find themselves in currently at this point. But regardless, look at the average age of the team. Look at the fact that ideally, again, knock on wood, they're going to be in the Rogers Center solely next year, as again, Brian Snow, the Sky Dome. They'll be in the Sky Dome exclusively for 81 home games next year. There's a lot of variables that we have to account for that this just may not have been the boys' season, but they've still shown some really, really good signs of life in what could be. Now it's up to Ross Atkins and Mark Shapiro to, I don't know, do you bring the entire band back? There's some contracts that are expiring. Marcus Semien, as we alluded to. There's a couple of pitchers that are going to be in need of contracts. Robbie Ray, who's had a fantastic Cy Young caliber season.
Honestly,
I will go on the record saying Cy Young caliber season. I really wish I put money on it because I hope he gets some outside backdoor votes. But regardless, man, oh man, it's been overall a fun team to watch, a stressful team to watch, but overall a fun team to watch.
Frustrating at times. We had Arash Madani on the Rod Peterson show today, and I feel like he summed it up perfectly. It just feels like they're in quicksand. It's like every time they feel like they're getting a little bit out, they're either, like you said it yesterday, they'll win a game, but every other team they need to get ahead of is also winning.
Exactly.
Or they'll lose, and it just
and
seems
every
like,
other one wins, and it's just
it's a tough.
They can't get the losses when the losses, unfortunately.
But it's encouraging. There's still a lot of positives. We got to read some comments. I've struggled. I've
I'm not going to lie. Sorry
tonight.
to our viewers, but I was not going to read a single comment.
Katie Fleury says, "Where's my beer?" I think she might have taken off already. But Katie, it's right here. If you want to come in and hang out, it's right here for you. Donna Berger is just giving us the update. The game is over. It's 5-2, so the Jays did end up getting
Scored
one
an
more
additional run.
Sheridan Davis says, "I am pumped for the Jays for next year. Should be a great season. All season in Toronto will change a lot. All season in Toronto will change a lot."
And again, so we go back to the process, right? And that's where, again, people forget about this, that it's always about the here and now. What happened to the Toronto Raptors the year before they won their championship, right? What happened to the Toronto Maple... whoops, wrong team.
Yeah, don't use them as an example, please. Let's not use
But
the Leafs.
regardless, it's a process, right? We talked about this. They signed George Springer, who unfortunately has battled a lot of injuries this year. He signed for 6 years, guys. That was the telltale sign of how long they expect to have this window for. The next 5 seasons are on top of this first year that he's had. And man, when he's been in the lineup, he's been as advertised. It's just been one of those years where you chalk it up to a lot of variables that were within the team's control, not within the team's control. Regardless, if they finish over 500, I'm satisfied with this Toronto Blue Jays season.
Yeah. Earlier on in the show, we missed this, but the over-under was set tonight.
Was it? We were on good pace for a while.
In terms of the time, Robin Wildiark, of course, Uncle Robin, said that 8:37. So we still got about 14 minutes.
Nice.
I think we're going to do it.
Man, we're on good pace
We're going to be the under tonight. Now, one thing me and Max were texting about yesterday, of course, with the Jays, we talked about catchers. I didn't want to like Reese Maguire, and he's slowly becoming one of my guys that I'm like, you know what, I kind of like that guy as a player. Obviously, if you don't know, and we don't need to get too into it, but Reese Maguire got into some legal troubles about a year ago, and
I stand by what I said in my text last night.
I know we won't get into what you said.
Why not?
Because we want to stay on the air. we don't want to offend.
It's not an after dark episode.
No,
Damn.
But Reese Maguire, he's becoming one of those guys who just keeps producing. He's hitting like 275 or something. He last night again
comes up with a huge double.
The other
last
night
night against
huge
Lance
double.
Lynn.
Got
Infield
out.
hit.
He got out on the double, on the run to third. He got out
again. Wasn't on him though. That's a great base running play. The ball was hit to his left. It's what it's going to be.
And then he legs
out that infield single.
Yeah. And then he got pinch ran for, of course. But Reese Maguire is coming up big. Danny Jansen's been hurt a lot. Kirk has been hurt a lot. Reese Maguire.
And behind the dish, he's been playing a good defensive catcher
pretty good.
as well, right?
Pretty good.
Go back to Chris Hunteriner's comments. We'll always shout him out because he brings a lot to the table. But any offense you get from your catcher is a bonus, and he's providing that offense, but he's also calling a good game behind the dish, right? It's not like he's that kid Zalara last night getting absolutely scalded by Tony LaRusse. Brian Snow,
didn't want to be
sorry.
in those books.
I might be part of this soft 2021 generation. Come on, man.
It's funny they were talking
showing
about
up your young catcher.
They were talking about Tony LaRusse in the broadcast, and you probably didn't hear it.
I gained a distaste for that man last night. I really did.
So Tony LaRusse, Pat Tabler, and Buck Martinez were talking about his catching history and who he's had as a catcher.
Yep.
Carlton Fisk. Yadier Molina with the Cardinals.
Couple of good names.
There was a couple other names that I didn't recognize, but they were talking about them like studs, and they probably were. I just can't think of what their names were at the moment.
I think they would have been studs without Tony.
And then even Yasmani Grandal is their normal everyday guy in Chicago, and they have this younger guy playing, and Tony just ripped into him for really something you'd probably.
Did you see the pitch?
His standards were
He called
high.
for it on the outside corner, and Lance Lynn
Missed his spot.
Put it down.
But I think the argument was that they should have just walked him because it was a 3-0 count. Vladimir Guerrero has probably got the green light. Should have probably just let him go. But it doesn't matter. It's still. I just thought it was a little bit funny. But you were
make your pitch, Lance.
Make your pitch, Lance Lynn.
Now, Lance Lynn. Did you see Lance? Tony was just filling the catcher. And
he was
just
right
giving
there.
it to him, and Lance Lynn just walking by like.
He was right there. He just didn't. He didn't say anything.
Nothing.
No, I am out of this conversation.
And you know what? The crazy thing is, he's probably going to win the Cy Young this year.
He's right there.
Lance Lynn's
now, one thing I found
good.
interesting, he's not even. He hasn't pitched enough innings to qualify for a bunch of stat leaders. I don't
Lance
know if you knew that.
Lynn?
Yeah, I guess he missed some time or something.
I thought he's been generally healthy most of the year.
But they said he had to get like 2 or 3 more outs or something at the beginning of the game. So he's like right there. But to qualify for a bunch of stat leader categories, because in baseball you have to pitch a certain amount to qualify for certain things. Anyways, George Springer, apparently he's running around taking live BP.
Good.
Now, one thing I wanted to just talk about real quick, his impact is noticeable when he's out of the lineup again. He obviously was in the lineup for about 40 games there, like a nice little stretch, and then he's out of the lineup again, and man, you can tell. Like
it's a deep lineup, but it's astronomically deep when George is in.
Seriously.
And that's what we were saying earlier, right?
Now, one of the things that leads to is lately in the last 7, 8, 9 games, they've had struggles with runners in scoring position. That RISP stat, they were like 6 for 70 or something, which is terrible. So when runners are on second or third base, basically, their batting average was like 100. Like, not good. Really bad. So what I'm wondering is if they got into a little bit of a funk where, now this happens in baseball if you have too good of a lineup. Now, this sounds weird, but the next guy will do it. Attitude. Now, this is where it comes in where if you have a team that doesn't have as many good hitters as the Jays do, and you know your 3, 4, 5 hitters in the lineup, those are your guys. Like if you're up, they know they need to do it. Everyone else knows they need to do it. But when you have 9 guys performing as well as the Jays have been luckily getting most of the season, you know, I'm wondering if they're starting to slip into like it's the dog days of August. I'm wondering if they're slipping into, you know what, if I don't get it done, the next guy will.
It's a very good point.
And that's an attitude that, you know, it's okay because you know that some guys have your back. But at the same time, when you're having struggles like this, you got to change that and be like, I got to be the guy.
Yeah.
I need the bat in my hands. I need I need to be up at the plate. I need to be the guy.
Yep.
So I think they just need to switch their mentality up a little bit. And that's baseball. I mean,
100%.
That's baseball. It's a weird sport, super weird sport.
Nailed it.
But I'm wondering if they just kind of slipped into that the last two or three weeks.
And again, it's going to happen over the course of a 162-game season, unfortunately.
And it's also a young team, and they're still getting used to each other.
And it's all the more magnified now, right? Because those early struggles are now starting to bite them, where if they could have closed a few of those games out, have a little cushion to go through this tough stretch with. Unfortunately, there's just not a lot of breathing room with less than 40 games left on the schedule. It's just a bit of a tough time to be slumping. And again, they're certainly not over yet, but man, they're going to have to go on some sort of run. And I'm sorry, guys, it's not 2015.
Nope.
It's just not.
Close, but not quite. Last note, and then we're going to get out of here. The bullpen has help on the way. Julian Merriweather has been in his rehab stint. I think he had a setback, but he's still in his rehab stint. So he's probably a couple weeks, but positive that he's at least close. Nate Pearson is still close. He's right there. He's pitching with the Bisons now in AAA.
He's having some good outings lately.
Good outings. So he's probably back within the next week or so, I would think, for that bullpen. And Joakim Soria, who is one of their kind of late trade deadline acquisitions, 37-year-old.
Hasn't pitched a game yet for them, has he?
He did, and then
he
hurt
get
his
into one
finger or
inning, and that's
something,
where
yeah. But he was pitching the live BP to George Springer.
Okay.
He was the guy pitching.
That's always a good guy to rehab with.
Not bad. So he's back right away as well, I think. So that's another veteran arm in the bullpen that's not going to hurt anybody's feelings.
Yeah.
So there's 3 potential guys coming in for that bullpen in late inning situations that I don't think we're going to be, as Jays fans, I don't think we're going to be upset about them being in the lineup. That was the Bluebird block for our friends over at RBI Baseball in Regina. Where's the read? There it is. Are you looking for a way to improve your skills on the baseball diamond? Are your kids in need of some training, skill building, or one-on-one coaching? Well, we got the place for you. RBI baseball and softball training over just on the east end of Regina, on the way to White City. It's just on the outside of the city here. Southern Saskatchewan, all of Saskatchewan's premier baseball training facility. Check out their Facebook, website, Instagram today. At RBI, they rise above the rest. Max, I saw your Instagram post for them today. That's pretty good.
Man, their Instagram is fantastic. And you know what? I think that's again, it's a common theme that we try to thank them enough, but all of our sponsors, all of our partners doing fantastic stuff across the board, whether if it's marketing their own companies, the products and services that they're offering. It's just great to be affiliated with such awesome people. And hopefully we can continue to establish more of those partnerships.
I agree. I think we have a couple cooking. We'd love to get those on the plate, if you want to call it that.
That's right. Yeah, get them on the corners.
Yeah.
That's right.
No, I'm talking about like they're cooking. We want to get them on the plate.
Oh, I thought you were talking. I thought we were still in the Bluebird block for a minute. You know,
could do both ways.
It is what it is. But man, oh man, what an episode!
Yeah,
the guys from Next Level Hockey Consulting, again, another company doing fantastic things across the board here. Tanner Jeannot, I know he's going to have a fantastic season this year. There's just those guys that you have the chance to talk to, and they're all business. They mean it. You know that they know how to have a good time.
Everything that Tanner said tonight, I was like, man, that guy's going to be a captain for the Predators one day.
Right. And when he was talking about being thrust into a leadership
I want to keep
role,
working. I want to prove to them that I earned that protection spot. I want everything. Like, God, love the kid.
And you know what?
He's not a kid. He's 24.
Wasn't forced by any stretch either. You know, it's again right. There's the hockey player speak. That's truly how he's built his career to this point. Yeah. He truly believes the words that he says, and that's what I absolutely love to see. So, again, thank you to every single guest we had tonight. It was a fantastic show.
Tomorrow on the Rod Peterson Show, CFL fans, you'll want to tune in. The voice of the Montreal Alouettes, Sean Campbell from TSN 690 in Montreal will be tuning in, or joining us. I shouldn't say he's going to be watching.
He'll be watching.
But he'll be talking as well.
He'll be participating.
Checking in.
He'll be an active watcher.
An active viewer, yeah.
Yes.
So Sean Campbell's going to check in hour 1. Hour 2, former Toronto Argonaut, Edmonton Elks receiver, Natea J. He's now a Toronto Argonauts broadcaster. He actually came out of, he just retired. He's in his 20s. He's not that old. Just retired. Mm-hmm. Now he's in the broadcast booth.
Love it.
He's a great dude. So he's going to check in. So a lot of CFL talk with our guests tomorrow. I know Rod and Darren will have a bunch of NHL and NFL talk as well.
Hey, so what's going on with this postponement? What's the intel, producer Clark?
The Elks game?
Yeah, so are they getting, because we saw what happened with the NFL, different economics in the CFL.
Yeah.
Are they going to be able to make this game up?
What's the controversy there? And fans are a little confused because
I am. That's why
they came out a couple weeks ago and said, we're copying the NFL's rules. If your team is the one that causes the delay or the forfeit or whatever, or the delay, postponement is the word I'm looking for, you lose. You forfeit.
All right.
And they said that. And then the Elks come out with 6 positive cases, I think it is. Mm-hmm. And they're like, you know what, we can't play. And they're going to postpone it. So it's like, didn't you just say that they're going to forfeit?
But with that being said, so again, man, this opens up a whole other can of worms. But what if those players were vaccinated? Is it really
I don't
on
know
them,
how that all
right?
works.
That's why, again, we could go into this for a whole other hour. We won't, but I just want to know if there was an update as to
the latest.
What,
well, we had Dave Naylor on the show the other day, and the latest that we got from it was that they were trying to figure out how it all happened, I think. So they're adjusting as they go. The game was supposed to be on Thursday. They've postponed it to another week, so they're going to try to play it. But I was under the impression that if your team got COVID cases and it was your fault, like if your team got COVID cases, you forfeit.
Like you said, copying the NFL rules.
You forfeit that week.
Makes sense to me. Yep, for sure.
I'm a little lost with that one, but we'll see. I guess we're going to find out.
Didn't want to end it on that note. I heard the rumor mill that Brady Tkachuk got offered a contract. Jordan, we're going to hit the over. Just kidding.
No, we're getting out of here. I did hear the Brady Tkachuk rumor though, so that'll probably be next week's topic if that actually happens.
Absolutely.
And next week, I think we're going to start this next week, Max.
Okay.
We're going to go division by division in the NHL and ask questions. It's not going to be a review of what happened. It's not going to be a preview necessarily, kind of a preview, but it's going to be lingering questions around every team. Almost, you said, as soon as I said that, you're like, 31 thoughts style, like Elliot Friedman? I'm like, yeah, I guess. But like, let's go. We're going to say lingering questions around the NHL. So I don't know if we'll start out west.
Sorry for drawing comparisons, man. It's a great program. I miss them.
Anytime we're compared to Elliot Friedman, I'm fine with that.
Not having my weekly dose of 31, soon to be 32 thoughts, man, it's
totally.
I'm lost this summer.
But I think we'll start out west. We'll go Pacific, and we'll just kind of. What are some questions?
There's a lot of questions there.
Absolutely.
Might need 2 weeks for that.
So we'll work our way east. So next week, we're going to start that on the SquadCast. I think our friends at Who Play for coming back in next week, talk a little basketball. So stay tuned for that. And we'll see. Maybe we'll get some friends dropping in talking baseball. I don't know. We'll see.
Hey.
But hey, from the basement of the bunker, we're going to hit the under tonight. Suck it, anyone who voted for the over.
Man, we were
Jordan's like, yes.
under in the first half, bet under in the second half.
Yeah, not too bad.
Look at us
From
go.
the basement of the bunker, we are signing off. I'm producer Clark. Mad Max is to my right. Thank you to our good friends at Original 16 Great Western.
That was a very good beer. I deleted that beer.
Deleted. Where am I? Director Jordan, producer Alan. What are we calling Rolf again? Assistant to the director?
To the director.
Rolf.
Rolf.
They're all in the back. Plus our friends at Rockstar Supply Chain Solutions, IKS Media. Forgot to shout them out earlier.
Hold
IKS
on a second.
Media.
Is this producer Alan's last week based on the contract?
Yeah, Alan, knock 3 times. Are you done? Or you're done?
Oh, that's the saddest 3 knocks I've ever heard. So with that being said,
now we're going to hit the over because we have to give Alan his tribute video. Roll the video, Alan.
And actually, you know what? In fact, should we bring Alan out for 1 minute?
Alan, come out and
grab the chair, my friend. You deserve it.
We're hitting the over after all.
That's fine.
It's Alan's fault. Alan, you just cost a lot of people who are betting on this show.
Oh, that sucks.
Anyways, Alan, your last week, he comes to us last week and he's like, sorry, guys, I might have to not come anymore. And we're like, why? He's like, I got school. We're like, totally fine, Alan. Like, you're from the classroom. Well, yeah. Pull your mic in a little bit, Alan. Tell us what you got going on.
I'll be going back to the university to take some classes.
University for journalism, right?
Yeah, and some classes that I need to take. That big thing before I didn't know. Now I have to do. So
Right.
Yeah.
You'll have that university class. You never know which class you have to take, and then when you take it, it's the wrong one, and you have to do it over. I've been there. That's always fun. But hey, we all wish you the best. Obviously, everyone in the back, of course, everyone upstairs. We keep talking about you all the time. So, Alan, wish you the best, and thanks for helping and doing everything you've done, man.
Yeah, no problem.
Absolutely,
it's been a blast.
Good. And anytime you want to come back, doors open. You can come in anytime.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely.
Paycheck will be in the mail.
Yeah, exactly.
We're getting paid.
Oh shoot! Darn it! Let's get out of here. Cut it. Anyways, we will see you next week right back here on the SquadCast. Bye for now.